Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to what I think will be the final session of our creative series, Creative Κύθηρα, Series 2. Pat will inform us on whether we have another session. I think we're finished though. Daphne is our last artist of the season, right?
Yes, Daphne is the last one. Unfortunately, Dimitri Katsantanakis is not available in 2 weeks' time because he's in the middle of moving. And he called up yesterday to send his regrets. Okay. So luckily, we're off on a high note, which will be with Daphne Petrohilos.
Yeah, and so we are, and it's been a great series. And I suppose we can talk about how good it was at the end of Daphne's, because this is another good session that we have ahead of us. I would like to say in Greek also, καλώς ορίσατε όλοι σήμερα το βράδυ. Μάλλον είναι το τελευταίο στη σειρά μας τα κύθρα της Δημιουργίας για φέτος και ελπίζουμε να το ευχαριστηθείτε. Θα σας συστήσει η Pat Kaufman. Pat Kaufman will introduce you to our artist of today, Daphne Petrohilos, and give you a little bit of background. Θα σας δώσει κάποια στοιχεία της Δάφνης για τη δουλειά της. Ούτως ή άλλως θα τα ακούσουμε αυτά από τη Δάφνη. Ένα πολύ ενδιαφέρον βιογραφικό έχει. This is Gringlish, so Daphne must be feeling very, very comfortable with my transferring from Greek to English. So Daphne, you can enter the screen if you like, I'm sure. We would like to see you. A clap for our last. welcome to the Friends of Museums of Κύθηρα. So Pat, if you want to say 2 words about Daphne, you're welcome.
Do you want to say anything about me? Better be nice.
I'm not going to say anything about Daphne. 1, she's sitting right next to me, and 2, all of you know her, and most of you have artwork from her. So there's very little to say except to allow her to reveal herself. And at this point, you might see the odd hand or something coming over from the left and right as I manipulate the. Put it back. I'm sorry, I've been having to close her all day. But Dean, I have to say that Dean has gotten the best points. Parts of her that I'm sure she would not want to share with all of you, but she shared with Dean and me this afternoon. So we are very, very happy. And I'm very happy to announce that Daphne is here and I am now absent.
Okay, I've got to sit down now. I've gained too much weight to stand up too long. So thanks very much, everybody, for appearing this evening. It's really, really nice. What a privilege. And I thanked before, most of you heard me, Pat. It's an enormous undertaking. The Φίλοι Μουσείων Κύθηρων, the association that put this, made this possible. What a great thing. How nice. Thank you so much. So we had, owing to my own terrible, disorganized methods of keeping records and putting them on things like sticks and turning this kind of thing into digital, accessible material. All my fault, and poor Pat had to deal with a lot of that and put something together. So what I have this evening is a selection from the 3 decades that I've lived on Κύθηρα. And they're scant and odd and all of this stuff, but some of them you might recognize, even though I didn't recognize them myself sometimes. So did anybody not understand what I said? Everything okay? Fantastic. Okay, so I, without getting too biographical on things, because it would take a long time, I can say, born to hippie parents in the 1960s, London, moved to America to study from age 12, graduated from the school in Chicago and came directly to Κύθηρα after that with my, I don't even think I brought my diploma with me, But I came and my mother was here, and my father, God rest him, was a Cytherian. My mother, quite by accident, found the house that I live in now, not knowing that we actually had any connection to Κύθηρα at all. But it's been the source of great things for a lot of people. And when I say great, it doesn't necessarily mean fortune or things like that. It's a different kind of great. There's a lot of space, and it's a very inspirational place for us all. And I've enjoyed pretty much every day of the last 30 years that I've had access to this island. So that being said, I can show you some of the first paintings I did while I was here. And remember, I lived with my mum, and I think we had one light bulb in the whole house because it hadn't been wired for electricity yet, and a well where we drew the water from. And I just come from Chicago, so I was a bit, I would say I was probably a little bit shell-shocked at seeing a horizon, for one thing, and more sheep than people. That was also quite nice. And not having a whole lot to do except look for things and see things and appreciate what was around. My mum said, look, you have to start painting at some point or do something with your time. You can't just walk around outside. And I said, but I don't know where to get anything from. And I had a little box of paints that I'd brought with me from college, I guess, from school. And she said, well, you have to go down to the carpenter and ask him for little bits of wood and you can paint on those. So that's what I did. And here's a piece. This is, I'm going to go slide.
Click on your piece.
I'm going to click on the piece. And then what do?
Then you go up to slideshow.
Then I go to slideshow and I go like this. And here's an example of one that I think doubled as a coffee coaster. Right there, you can see the coffee drips on it. But that's a very small piece of wood that I got from a carpenter that is no longer with us, who was very generously allowed me to go through his cut bins of stuff. And this is another one. And this is what Κύθηρα sort of looked like to me at the time. It was light, or Greece really is the Greek light, the legendary Greek light. This is a ruin outside Potamos that is still there, but more partial than that, less of it. These are Pitharia in Hora. And these are very small. They would be like, you know, this big, the cuttings off a bit of door or something like that. But I liked them, and I made a lot of those, partly because I didn't want to stay home and argue with my mum. Okay, so we go back to the screen of escape. Escape. Oh yeah, look, here's a picture of, oh no, I shouldn't show you that. Okay, here's another one of, and I go, what, slideshow? Slideshow. I'm going to get the hang of this, I swear. And here's a doorway in Phrygianica, Trifiligianica actually, which has all been gentrified now. And another doorway, which for a while, it seemed to me like everything I painted got torn down within a couple of months, because this is now gone, that archway is now gone as well. But you looked through and there's just this little row of steps that went kind of nowhere, made of some ruin, the inside of a kamara that had fallen, and they just made steps to go out. Anyway, this was all very fascinating stuff because there was very few people around at that time. I mean, compared to now, it was October. The weather was beginning to change. It started to get a little bit sinister. What was I going to do? City mind. Anyway, we soon made good, and I started to, oh, you would know this one. You'd know this place. Anyway, we're talking 30 years ago, okay? So I've come a long way. So slideshow. So this is another piece on a little bit of wood, which I think I still have. But now, of course, if you know outside Potamos, they put some braces on this church because it's extreme. Look around, because I spent a long time just walking around with a tin bucket with paints and paintbrushes in it and bits of scraps of wood, which was actually a very good experience. Highly recommended. And so we moved up and things got a bit more cheerful, found some friends, went to places like, hey, is that Yerakari? Yes, it is. That's changed a lot now. I think a lot of those trees have been pulled out. But again, you can see the tiny little brush marks because I was working on this scale just to get the color right, the colors right. Escape. 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 Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing here. It's not going anywhere. Oh no, we're stuck in Yerakari. Claudia, what do you think of that? Anyway, oh, there's my house. That's my house. The first time I'd seen irises blooming in a normal condition, normal natural conditions instead of in a supermarket. We could just actually go through these as a slideshow. We'll just slideshow it, and then I'll tell you as it goes. So here it is. Pat's very kind to help me with this. Little lavenders. Can you see the little wood? There's the nails sticking up, and I think I got my brother to make me some little frames for those. Oh, we've done that. Oh yeah, what Firiamo used to look like. And then we get to canvas finally. Yes, I got some canvas. That's Caravas in the old days when that was a Cafe Neon down there. And this lady lived in there who always had her finger in her nose. And so I had to walk past her very quickly. And there was some wet cement outside that building there. That's Harry's house. And I did a mermaid in it while it was still wet. And this lady came out, she almost hit me with a broom. She said I was dirty, filthy drawings on this village. Yeah, okay. And then I met my husband, and I don't have a picture of, I did lots of pictures of him, but if you can see me, I did this painting of him when I first met him on a piece of, I think, old box. And this is a big smile. And he was a massive influence in actually getting me to take things a little more seriously than I was. And I started to do these paintings as I followed him between Athens and Kythera. And this is a painting from the park across the road where I would eventually, these are wedding gifts that I got from his friends when we got married, not long after I met him. And there's our young man. And that's my son that I did when he was little. And this hat, I'm sorry, see, this is all stories. I mean, I can talk about paints and colors and compositions and all of this stuff, but we can do that later. He is the owner of the very, very fine jacket I was wearing this evening, and also the owner of the Spider-Man underpants in the picture that was sent to you in the email. They weren't mine. Hanging on the line. Okay, so daffodils, always welcome. And you see, it started getting a little bit more interested in this doing still life stuff, because whenever you couldn't do anything or didn't have much inspiration for something, these work out to be a tremendous source of practice and calm, because you learn your materials really well after a while. You learn to take notice of things properly, understand them, to transport them from life to a surface in some way. There's my boy. This was an illustration that I did for the Kythera summer edition about women working on the land. Did lots of illustrations for that, for the paper. This is a Dublin Seascape, and I swear to God, those are the colors. It's a very quick sketch. I went to Dublin for a good few years for the school year, because my son was in school there. So we would be back and forth between Ireland and Kythera a lot. And something occurred to me between the two places as a still life of some lemons. I probably nicked those. Is that islanders, people who live on islands, are quite different, have a quite different mentality to mainland people or people that are landlocked. And I think that comes from having a view of another world at all times. You can look across the water and there is another world, but yet you're distant and not part of it if you don't want to be or can't, or so there's an immediate separation. And how islanders, I mean, anything that happens on an island kind of, it goes round. And part of going round is the dances that we have here, the celebrations in summer, which I found so enchanting. These are friends of mine. Whenever I don't have a model, I just put my friends in. So there's George Spada there. This is a girl named Jessica. There's Anna in the back, and I can't remember, could have been Lily in the red dress. And so, and this is George the electrician, who, God rest his soul, passed away last week. But they are, when you paint your friends, it makes things jump. And here's Anna again with Jimmy. This is part of a series on the islander characteristic. There's, I can't quite explain it without maybe sounding a little bit too abstract, but there's a kind of sleepiness sometimes, because you know that you do or don't have to do what you said you would do or don't do, or things can become quite random, and there's plenty of time to actually appreciate life in a way that you can't when you're forced to, not forced to, but when you've chosen to live in a city, or you're in some place where you obviously need to keep moving and to keep providing. We have time here from every strata of existence here. I can say Κύθηρα. There's always time. There's always a bit of time somewhere to sit down and to fly a little kite. And this is Anna and Jimmy after they met, and I was celebrating with them by doing lots of paintings of them, a couple of, familiar chairs. This is two young ladies getting ready to, or actually they're already out having a nice time, checking her lipstick up there. This was done in Dublin, and I did I put a show together which combined the islanders of that I noticed in my time in Ireland, together with their sort of counterparts in Greece, and it was really fun. I kind of have to tell the story about this one, right? Because I really love this painting. This was part of that Islanders show. I went to Crete to stay with my son while his father was off doing a job in another part of Greece. And I was there for about 3 months, and they had this little dog. And one day I was cleaning the house, and I said, okay, I'm going to clean the dog basket. And I took out the cushion, and underneath the cushion was one shoe from about 10 pairs of shoes, right? So oh my God, none of these are mine. So I had to go around the village and ask everybody if they were missing a shoe. Is this yours? Because I couldn't throw them away. It would have been bad. And I finally found the owner of every shoe that was missing. So everybody got their pair of shoes back. And the last lady I took her shoe to, I said, look, I think this is yours, because I'd seen her wearing them. It was one of those galoshes with a little bit of fur around the ankle that I wish we could still buy. So she was so grateful that I had returned this galosha that she gave me these 2 bags. She just went around the garden and stuffed these 2 plastic bags full of these beautiful citrus fruits. And some of them, I can see that lemon right there wasn't quite ready yet, but she stuffed them. She was so grateful. And I sat with her for about an hour, and she told me her story and everything. And I went home carrying this, like, laden with fruit, and I put them down, and I looked at the dog, and I thought, man, nicking stuff, there could be a future in this. But it was just so beautiful and so Greek. Like, the dog had taken something of hers, as if I had, let's say. I'm returning it, and she's grateful. And this gratitude for the simple, tiny things. The one galosha, she didn't have to go out and buy another pair. And you know, the dog didn't get whacked, and the fruit was eaten, and everything makes this beautiful little circle of gratitude. So I thought that was a very special painting to me, and that definitely was in the Islanders show. And across the road from that same lady, there was a couple of sisters who I think had never married, but they'd done a lot of weaving in their life. And this is them preparing the carpets to go into storage and washing them in the yard. Now, between Crete and Kythera, there's the stop in Kythera on the boat, which I used to do regularly. And there was a time when I used to get off and wait for the next boat, because Kythera is a very fascinating environment. And there were these 3 kids sitting on the roof waiting with me for the boat, as we all were. And there was this brilliant light of, I would say, around May or September, that kind of light where it's not white and blinding. And they were just passing time. Of course, they didn't have smartphones. This is probably 10 years ago, maybe even more. The time rushes together. So he's playing his shadow of the of the bird of prey there, you can see it. And without him knowing, she's making the shadow of the hair on his t-shirt there, you can see. So he's thinking, oh, I can make the bird on the thing. And she's very, very tapinos. Πώς λέμε tapinos? Tapinotita, humility. She's very, very secretly, humbly making this hair that is going to escape the clutches of the bird, very obviously. And then of course we have the third party, which is maybe a friend, you know, in between all this. Odd numbers and 3, the number 3 is kind of crucial to a lot of the things I do, only because I've always had been a little bit disturbed by balance in anything. So when I tiled my bathroom, I had to count the tiles. It took about a month and a half to actually get so that there were odd numbers going in every direction, and nothing was an even number. It's crazy, but so very often I'll have to put a supporting character, you know, because it couldn't just be 2 people and then the hair and the thing and then 3 pigs. So I go, oh my God, I did a 4th one. I've got to put 2 of something else. Anyway, so there's always this third, this character, sometimes often with his back turned. Anyway, off we go. Adam and Eve, but you know, with their clothes on. These are little vignettes that you see day to day that can strike a fancy. The idea of this fella is helping her get something from the tree, and I think it might be stolen because he's looking like he's a bit worried, which is how it seemed at the time. I didn't stop and watch them for very long. I just thought, oh, that's a good one, and went and sketched it. Now, this is a massive painting. It's life size. I gave it to a friend of mine who is in Dublin. I can't remember why, but this was in a show in Dublin. And it was hanging next to another painting, which was a very, very well executed picture of something. And then I was off in the foyer, and somebody came and said, Daphne, you won 2nd prize. And I could hear them announce the thing, and it said, and the 2nd prize goes to the falling man. So I said, falling man, and I went, and it wasn't, the picture beside it had won the prize, but everybody thought that it was mine because he's falling. He ain't falling. He's actually trying to catch that hair. This painting is titled Not Today, Mr. Jim, because this is Jimmy, and everybody might know Jimmy Galakatos. He can actually catch things like that. And I was with him when he was doing this. He didn't catch that one, but I've seen him catch things in this very same way. Now I I had to have people posed on a chair to do that. It took a long time, and also you don't see hares very often, so I had to look at a lot of stills, photographs of that till I got it right. But I do remember seeing him do this. Honest to God. Two really beautiful wine flagons. This one, I think my brother found in the rubbish. You see, there's a broken bit there that's not accepting the light. And this one, which took forever to clean because I had to tie a bottle brush onto a stick to get to the bottom, but I still have those. Those are very nice bottles. This I did just shortly before the crisis began. And it's a guy on a swing. And my husband had tied a swing in a huge platano, plane tree. And we would swing on it day and night. And this is sort of a mash-up of my son and my husband at the same time doing it because they had great time on it. I couldn't do it because I get seasick. I hear Pelagia when there used to be real boats down there, little fishing boats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, an even number. Okay, I'll help you. So that's nice. That's it. Petros and Clive have that, so thank you very much. Same thing, islanders. These are something you see very often in Ireland as well, because they still have a culture around horses and farm animals and farming they have a very dignified approach to it too. They're very proud of their animals. Twins, redheads. It's what they were supposed to be with their horse at a time of day where you can't really tell what's going on. Milopotamos, that's from the early times. Of course, this is all covered with, I don't know, parking spaces, and some of those trees I think are gone now, but never mind. Islanders dancing, I got quite involved in the motion and movement and expression of watching these girls dancing in summer and having a great time, taking their shoes off, the jewelry, the makeup, the hotness, the summer heat, all of that stuff. I did quite a few of those. This is just two that I happen to have okay photos of. This is called the Festival of the Winds, I think. One of those days, again, no smartphone, no computer, sitting around getting a couple of mates and going up to a hill or somewhere just to look at stuff and pass the time. Aha! This is a very large painting. This is in the collection of my son now. I just didn't know what to do with it. It was very big, and funnily enough, nobody wanted to buy it. So 1, 2, and the third party is the kite. And this actually, oh, sorry, I keep moving the cursor around. The third party is the kite. Now, Katharine Deftera, flying the kite, this actually is a scene that I went down to Paleopoli, where my lovely friends Tina and Maria were celebrating the Katharine Deftera, and we had a kite, and it was very far away, but definitely heading to some thorns. And two of us ran like the wind to stop it from getting either into the sea or being completely torn up. And when we got there, the fella here, it just touched the tips of his fingers and took straight off up into the sky again. And it was the most miraculous moment ever. So I hurried home to do that, to make sure that remained firmly in my mind and on some kind of surface. A lot of these things, you know, they're sort of when you run to take a photograph of something, or you have to run home and tell somebody something. This works the same way. So next, is that it? Have I gone through all of them? What do I do? Escape?
I don't know what's happening. Hold on, let's see.
Well, that's fine. We can end there. I was going to get up to the recent stuff.
We've got more. Dean, can you give us a hand here?
You should have a few more. You should have a few more slides.
Yeah, we should, and I can't get out. Escape. Hold on, people. You're going to see a blue shirt and a big nose. Hold on.
Beautiful big nose.
Hit the 3 ellipses and slideshow. Stop. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, now.
Hold
on a second. I can get it. I was just letting Lita Semeride in, and I'm going to go down to. No. Okay, there we go, Daphne. It's back to you.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. We don't have too many to look at. We do. We have plenty.
You've got plenty. Hold on. I'll just.
Okay. So here's more Islander pictures.
Okay. So they've gone there, and so this is the next one, and you've got quite a few.
Okay. So we'll just click through them. I don't want people to
Keep on going.
bored. Okay. So
if people are bored, they'll say so.
So I go like that, and then what do I do now? So Scott, I clicked that. Slideshow. Oh, slideshow. That's right. Slideshow. Done. No? Yeah. On the slideshow where it says slideshow. No, save page as.
Hold on.
Now we got it. Okay. Potamos. Again. She's painted those orange now, but this is a long time ago. George Sparas. He's got white hair now. This one here is actually from Crete, where they do this in the street at any given time. And this one was in Pelagia. All of these were in the Islanders theme that I felt represented. Great lover of trees. Okay, the lemon trees. I've done a lot of these. I know a lot of lemon trees personally. This one here was next to my father's house. It's been severely pruned now, I might say. But if you have a lemon tree, I can come over and paint it anytime. I love them. Lemon, oranges, whatever, fruits, nice. Dinner time at the village in Crete. There's the fate of a hare that wasn't so lucky. Again, Cretan and the horse, they have their own type of horse there. This is the traditional black apparel that they wear in Crete. Crete, some lovely children who actually can't really play that accordion, but it looks really good when they walk around with it and sing. This was it, okay, you see this writing down the side there? Epiticheno, okay, right? I think. So while I was learning Greek, which I still am, I get my little Greek dictionary and I flick through it and I find a word. And if I paint it down the side of the paintings, then while I'm painting, I'm actually learning what that means. And on the other side, it would be in English. So I learned I increased my vocabulary greatly that way. This is in Hora on an Easter leave around the time of Easter. Yeah, it was Easter because there's the lilies. That's right. This is called Easter lilies. And again, I had to use Tina and Maria Skina for these profiles. And the third party back turn redhead. But I did actually have one of these shirts, so I could put it on somebody to get the colors right. But that I did see, and I had some nice sketches from it, but I just didn't have the faces, so I used my friends. Some dancing ladies. So I very sadly, he passed away very suddenly, and I went to Crete to live with my son so that he could complete school. And around the corner, there was, during a very hot afternoon, there was a young man, probably from the high school that was right there, doing a nice handstand for the lady in the back there. And this is probably one of the only times where there isn't a third party present. So I obviously was taking it very easy during that time because it's quite hot. It was quite a difficult time emotionally. But every once in a while, you can turn these things into something worth keeping. Agia Pelagia. This one is the balcony of my house. My sister and I have an orange tree out there that's grown much higher now. Bucket of oranges coming up from down below, a good flirt going on there. And the third party, sorry, but what's that? That's a third party. Some fruit, now this is more later stuff. This was from last year. I was trying to get the texture and color of linen. Very, 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 very difficult, but I finally kind of got hang of it. Met this person. Okay, so I'll just get through the rest. Oh, we're stuck again. Do I do escape?
Try it.
I did try escape, nothing. Oh, we're almost done. Almost done. I want to get up to the last things.
Oh, well.
Okay. There's one of the birds that I foster. I like birds a lot, and sometimes when they turn up sick or injured, and Katharine fixes them up and they need to be fattened up, I take care of them, and I take great pride in that. Release them back into the wild, of course. And this was a very nice pigeon that I had for a while. Very soulful bird, extremely nice. And that was his bedroom, that basket. He liked to go in there and then by day stand on top of it and stare at me for hours. And so here we are at where I am now. Now I do paint, always painting, lots of paintings going on all the time. That's fine. But for the last decade, I've been doing this project out here in Petrόχειλος, which is the inspiration from the gentleman who owns the property. And it's, if anybody knows about Petrόχειλος, it's positioned at the very southernmost tip of the island. And it's on the site of it. Well, most recently it was used as a radio signal bunker, watch out place during the occupation of the Second World War. So it has a bit of a it has a dodgy kind of feeling to it when you go out there, because people spent a lot of time there in fear and anxiety. And so the idea was that we return it to some type of beauty, to bring things back to natural circumstances. And it's very, very big. It's about 80 square meters there. And none of these stones, all of these stones are present in this area, but I had to supplement them by finding the same stones somewhere else on the island in great quantity, that were a bit smoother so you could walk on it, because it's a very, very, very rough, geologically very rough and forbidding area. All those plants around there are actually extremely old, even though they're very small, because of the way the wind works, pounding that place. It's very, very dry. And this had previously been, you can see it in the background there, a sterile clay bed. Nothing was destroyed, dug. The only thing was that all the stones were brought together to form this surface. And after a while, you can see it here beginning because it's taken such a long time. I still work on it. Now a lot of green has come through, which is exactly what should happen. It's been allowed to retain enough moisture that there can be some kind of ecosystem going on around there again. And it's an absolute joy when one of those stones pops out and I look and I see that there's life going on underneath it where there was none. And funnily enough, this work was stopped for 2 years. A policeman came storming down the road and what are you doing there because of the archaeology and things like this, which I understand. And it's something we do have to be careful of. So what are you doing there? And I said, nothing really, why don't you come inside? I'm just putting some stones in this place. What are you doing? There's cement there. No, there's no cement. There's no cement. Well, what are you doing it and why? And I said, well, no particular reason except that it's nice. Why don't you come inside? So he was incredibly hostile. I said, you're not going. I want you to come up to the police station with your papers and your ID, which I didn't have with me. And you're forbidden from coming here. And don't let me, if I find you here again, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which is exactly what this project is saying. It doesn't disturb anything. It hasn't killed anything. I didn't break one single stone, one single stone. Those are all fit together because they want to fit together. There's nothing was tampered with, nothing. And the attitude of that poor policeman trying to do his job, he was sent down there for a very good reason. And subsequent people who have visited and said, you should pull out all the green and how come you haven't put cement? And I said, because you don't really need to, it's all there. Everything is always right there. All you have to do is pretty much ask it how it wants to be put together. That's all. And the same thing with painting. It's basically the same thing as painting, except that it's in 3Ds and it takes 10 years. So we're still doing this. And I think that's the last picture. So, and I hope I haven't gone over time and nobody's fallen asleep.
Hold on.
So
there should be one more.
Oh, there should be one more. There you go. Oh, that's the other side of it. That's you can see the clay over there, the sterile clay, and this lovely tree that was planted there, which I'm doing everything I can to keep going. That's the story. That's it. That's the crack. So if you want to ask me anything, please feel free. Is that right, Pat? Mm-hmm. Pat's been extremely kind and patient with my inability to cope with technology. So thanks very much. If you want to say something, please feel free.
Hold on 1 second. I've got to let them. Helen, do you want to say anything? I think Helen came and went. There we are.
Daphne, that was a tour de force. It was amazing. And if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask, they can either go down to the bottom or sometimes at the top of the screen. And let's see, I think
Yeah, you can see it.
that. And you can choose to raise your hand or not, or you can just wave your hand like this, and he will choose to speak. So now it's over to you.
Hi. Daphne, how's it? Corky.
Hi, Corky.
Hi. How's it? Your paintings are beautiful. Your use of light and all that is just astounding.
You remember them from a long time ago as well. You remember the little bits of wood, I bet.
Yeah,
we do remember the little bits of wood.
We've got some of your paintings in the house, but we are so fascinated by your stonework. That is just magnificent.
Well, it's ongoing, so you know. It takes a while. If you don't break them, it does take a while, but it's worth it.
No, it's great. No, just wonderful. And yeah, it was a really nice talk. We loved your informality and the stories behind each painting, which is...
Oh, thank you. There's a story to everyone. So if you want to ever ask me, you can.
No, anyway. We've got a lemon tree that we want you to paint.
Okay, super. I'm on it.
Okay. We'll be there in mid-May. So
2 weeks.
2 weeks time.
I'll be there.
I can see a collection of Daphne's short stories coming out, actually. I love the stories as well. It was a different angle to showing us your work. And it was, you know, for us who have lived Κύθηρα and you know, the lemon trees and the orange trees, the stonework, everything, it really means something because you read something into everything that you do. And I just loved it. Loved it. Thank you very much, Daphne. It was fantastic. But get those stories all together. You know, do a little illustration, a little book of illustrations and stories.
Yeah, there's plenty to say, and I mean the ones that you didn't see this evening. I mean, it goes on and on. It's just I'm almost incapable of keeping track of the pictures. Yeah. But I've got it all. It's all there. Thanks so much, Helen. That's very inspirational. Thank you.
That's another project for you, no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Another. Absolutely. I'm on it. I'm on it.
And can I just say, do you remember many years ago, it was when you first came to Κύθηρα, and you came to the Karava, we were preparing for the Karavitiko festival, the Panigiri.
Yes.
And you, your brother, there were 4 of you. Was it your husband? I can't remember who else was there.
Yeah,
you transformed our Luna Park into something absolutely fantastic with clowns and it was just amazing.
It was
I'm going to dig out all those old photos and we have to have a look through. But
those were such magical days because we had a tradition of walking from our house to the Karavitiko and back again. And even with our babies, when we had babies, we did it every single year for that event. It was an incredible event. It was so beautiful and so personal. And I remember you making there's a game where you catch a fish by...
Oh, yes, we had the little pond. And
you couldn't see the fish anymore. And I thought, God, I must try that for some reason.
You had done fantastic drawings. And we used them for many, many years, backdrops for all the Luna Park.
Everybody remembers the Karavitika from a long time ago, 20 plus years ago. Magical moments, though.
I will never forget, the 4 of you just moved in and transformed the whole of the Luna Park.
It was great fun. We tore the place up, man. We loved it. Bring on the Neopal acrylic paint. We're in there with our hog hair brushes.
That's many years ago, so we don't forget it.
Anytime you want us to do it again, we'll hobble up there.
Absolutely. Great. Would anyone else like to sort of ask Daphne a question?
Susie would.
I just want to say, Daphne, that your perspective from where you look at all the figures is always so unexpected, and also you do them upside down sometimes. It's wonderful. It's just looking at the world in a completely different way to just standing and looking at it straight on. So you look from underneath, or you look from the side, or the angles. It's fantastic. It's really wonderful.
Thank you. I have to confess something now that you've mentioned it. Very often, the canvas isn't the right size. So I have to get all the information in. If I put it over the top, then I can do it.
It doesn't matter how you do it. It's just, it's wonderful. If that's what makes you have a mad perspective, it's great.
It's got to be in there. So it's just like
yeah, good. No, it's fabulous.
Tricks of the trade, my friends. Tricks.
Yeah, we know about that. But also it's your vision.
It's so nice to see everybody. It's so nice. Hopefully there will be a dance. There'll be an event where you can walk around and catch a glimpse of everybody again soon. It would be so nice.
Won't be so long.
I hope not. I hope not. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Daphne.
Thanks, Daphne.
It's my pleasure.
I'd like to thank
Yes,
No, wait.
Panagiotis, τι θέλεις?
Panayoti.
Hello, everyone. This is
Hello.
Panagiotis. May I ask you something, dear Daphne?
Please.
First of all, thank you very much for showing us your work. And again, I say it's so wonderful that through this event, we have the chance to see an overview of the work of dear artists that, although we know each other personally for so long, and we have been present in your exhibitions and everything, we don't really know your history in depth, the way you worked through the years, and now we have the chance. And thank you very much for that, and you and Pat and Helen and everyone who participates, and Maria. Here comes my question now. I noticed, I hope my question is not indiscreet. I noticed that almost all of your paintings are consisted from models, from people, real people, that appears that you have a deep affection to them. You remember the story of every painting. You remember who is in these paintings, what they were doing at that particular time when you paint them. And so I didn't see any landscapes, and which of course I understand. Okay, it's not your preference, but out of curiosity, you know, usually in other fellow artists, especially in Κύθηρα landscapes, it's the main subject of the paintings of many of your fellow artists in Κύθηρα. So, and I saw a single landscape of yours, but that was from Ireland. And from the other side, I know how much you love Κύθηρα and the Kytherian landscape, and how much you like to work on this land. And how come? I mean, this is my question. Maybe you keep it for future work, for your next level of your work. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, I do. I do have landscapes. I do something called car paintings. So under my car seat, there's a lunchbox with paints in it, and little bits of wood and paper that have been primed. So I can stop, go, oh, look, that cloud is yellow. And I can paint the cloud right there on my, I stop the car and I do it right here on the steering wheel. Landscapes are fascinating. They are everywhere here. You can't avoid a landscape. I have to be honest with you. I've done them, and they're very small like this, because in order to stop freeze time, it's not something that I feel natural doing at home after the fact. Whereas with people moving around and doing their thing, I can make very good memory of it. I'm probably not very good at landscapes. That could be why I don't have many, but I do have a little collection of them that are about this big. And I give them to my like Tina has a few of them in her house. I give them as wedding gifts, because it's a clean slate for you to fill with your people. But yeah, that's a nice question. I'm kind of busy looking at them. You know? I'm busy looking at them, I guess. And Yeah, let's not say I don't do any, because I do. I just haven't shown them anywhere. But thank you. Very, very nice question. Very nice question.
Okay, I thank you, dear Daphne, and I wish you good luck with your future work. And I hope no policeman will come and interrupt your inspiration in the future.
Yeah, policeman. You are arrested for being ridiculous. Okay. Sorry. Anyway,
all the best to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Panayoti, for coming in. Thank you so much.